6-month internship in music therapy. That was my degree, music therapy. 6 months, and I intended to move further south where it would be warm. But God had a plan for my life to stay in Danville. After I realized I was going to be staying, I got a job in Danville. I got involved in the local church. I went on a retreat and met a really goofy guy who was just charming and sweet and wonderful. And a couple years later, we ended up getting married, saying vows before God and our family and our friends to stick together in sickness and in health, for better or for worse. Now, when we got married, we kind of had in our mind that we would wait a while before we started a family, because that's what you're supposed to do. Goofy. And but just a few months into our married life, we desired to start a family. And that's really how God designs marriage. You know, that we are meant to live out that love, and the love to bring forth another life. And so I conceived my son. Didn't know it was a son right away, of course, but we were very, very excited. In fact, I started wearing maternity clothes right away. I was working as a music therapist in the local hospital, and I just wasted no time in going to the store and buying stuff. And at 14 weeks, I had an ultrasound, and I was really excited. And Bruce, with his work shift and all that, was able to go with me. And the technician was taking all the pictures and looking, and we're looking at our child in profile, sucking his thumb. And I took the picture, one of the pictures, to work the next day. And we were just excited. Then I got a call from the nurses, or the doctor's office. The nurse saying, "Mrs. Padan, the doctor has found some anomalies. You need to see a specialist in Indianapolis." And I was suddenly stopped and like, this cannot be. And of course my mind was reeling with all the possibilities of what this meant. The next business day we went to see a high-risk obstetrician at IU Med Center, and he did a more intensive ultrasound, and he said, "Mrs. Padan, your child is experiencing what we call amniotic band syndrome. And it means that some of the membranes around the baby ruptures and gets sticky like plastic wrap. And it wrapped around his body. Now, if this happens later in pregnancy, wraps around a foot, it could literally amputate the foot. But that's not life-threatening. This happened in my first trimester and wrapped around my baby's midriff, the abdomen. And so it was very evident that he just wasn't developing well. The doctor said, "You need to consider your options." And I knew what that meant in his mind. And I said, "Well, there are no options. I'm continuing this pregnancy." And that is because of the pro-life foundation that I had. And Bruce was right there with me. And he said the same thing. Parents, I'm here to tell you, you must be consistent in raising your children with a pro-life ethic. It's not a guarantee that people make the right choices, but my gosh, it's the best insurance you're going to have. And I'm so grateful for our upbringing, and so yes, we decided we're going to continue this pregnancy. Now, I already had a disability, but as my pregnancy progressed, my disability got worse. I went from full-time work to half-time, and then complete medical leave. I could hardly move. I could hardly walk. I had friends coming in to help me in the house. And then even at 28 weeks, when I went in for an ultrasound, the doctor said, "I still think termination is an option." I was 28 weeks pregnant. And here's the thing. He's telling me, a disabled woman, that I should abort my disabled child. How repugnant. How insulting is that? And I said there never were, or termination was never an option. And then he said something that just chilled me to the bone. He said, "In other cases, women have asked me to take care of this, and I have done that for them." What? See, IU Med Center does not do abortions, so I thought I was okay. But I didn't know at the time, doctors often have their practice, they have privileges at different facilities. He was doing abortions elsewhere. I didn't know what to do. I'm 28 weeks pregnant in a difficult pregnancy. No one's going to take my case. What do I do? So I consulted with a pro-life priest friend. What do I do? And he said, Kim, there's no easy answer, but perhaps you're there to give witness to this doctor that whatever happens to your child is not up to the doctor, it's up to God. So I continued and struggled with my own health, but we prayed and we prayed. At 33 weeks, I went into labor. And shortly after midnight on October 6th, Gabriel James Padan was stillborn. Now, I know that's obviously a downer. People want to hear great stories. People want to hear the doctor was wrong. The baby was fine. Angels were singing. The lights were coming down from heaven and we were all singing. Hallelujah. But instead, this time, the doctor was right. I didn't hear the angels sing. But I held my son. My husband was there, my mother was there, my mother-in-law was there, my sister, one of my brothers, one of Bruce's brothers. Gabriel came into the world with family present because Gabriel is a part of our family. Ladies and gentlemen, if we only share the good stories, believe me, I love the good stories. Your story, Teresa, just moved my heart so much. I love those good stories. But if we only share the happy endings, we are not fully pro-life. If we only talk about the successes and the great things that people are doing and someone, builds some wonderful business or someone finds the cure for cancer and all these wonderful things, then we're not fully pro-life. Because life is not precious because of productivity. Life is precious because it comes from God Almighty. Amen. Life is precious because we as human beings are the only creature made in the likeness and image of Almighty God. We are the only people